Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Wirepas.
All right, strap in, everyone. Today we're going deep on Wirepas.
Wirepas.
Yeah, they're doing some really interesting stuff with mesh networking for the Internet of Things. And they're making some pretty bold claims, too.
Yeah.
Like, they say they've cracked the code on non-cellular 5G.
Right.
So we've got a ton of material to go through, blog posts and partner case studies and all sorts of things.
That's a lot.
And we're going to try to, break it down and figure out what it all means.
Absolutely.
So to kick things off, what exactly is Wirepas mesh?
Well, it's kind of like, imagine if...
Yeah, and why should anyone care?
Right. Good question.
Yeah.
So traditional networks, you can think of them like a highway.
Okay.
Everything has to flow through that one route. And if there's an accident or a construction or something, everything gets backed up.
Oh, gridlock.
Exactly. But Wirepas mesh, it's more like a network of back roads and side streets.
Interesting.
The data can take multiple paths.
Oh, so that's where that whole decentralized thing comes in?
Exactly. There's no single point of failure.
So it's resilient.
Very resilient, yeah.
And I also saw them talking about ultra-high density and short airtime.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So ultra-high density basically means you can pack a ton of devices into a small area.
Okay.
Like think of a warehouse where every item is tracked.
Oh, wow.
Or a stadium full of sensors monitoring everything that's happening.
That's wild.
Yeah, and Wirepas mesh can handle it all.
Okay, that makes sense. What about short airtime?
So that's all about efficiency.
Oh.
Devices can communicate quickly and then go back to sleep.
Like a power nap.
Exactly. And this means the batteries can last for years, not just months.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially if you have sensors in, hard-to-reach places.
Right. You don't want to be climbing up a ladder to change batteries all the time.
No, not at all. So it sounds like Wirepas mesh can be used in a lot of different ways.
That's right. It's very versatile.
But how do they balance all those factors, like range and density and power consumption?
Well, that's what's so cool about it. It can adapt.
Adapt.
Yeah, like think about a smart city.
Okay.
You've got traffic lights and parking sensors and air quality monitors, all sorts of things.
Right.
And they all have different needs.
Uh-huh.
But Wirepas mesh can be optimized for each specific use case.
So it's like a Swiss Army knife of connectivity.
I like that. Yeah. It can handle pretty much anything you throw at it.
And one thing that really caught my eye was their non-cellular 5G solution.
NR+.
Yeah, NR+.
It's pretty groundbreaking stuff.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right?
So can you help me understand how it works?
Sure. So you know how traditional networks are like a highway?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right. Well, cellular 5G is like adding more lanes to that highway.
Okay.
It's faster and can handle more traffic.
But it's still limited by the same infrastructure.
Exactly. NR+ is different.
Different how?
It's like instead of adding more lanes, they built a whole new type of transportation system. And it uses a different part of the radio spectrum.
What do you mean?
So the radio spectrum is like this giant cake.
Okay.
And different slices of that cake are used for different types of communication. And cellular providers like Verizon and AT&T, they pay a lot of money to license specific slices for their 4G and 5G networks.
So those are like the prime real estate of the radio waves.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And NR+ uses a different part of the cake.
Exactly. It uses the unlicensed spectrum.
Unlicensed spectrum, what's that?
That's the part of the spectrum that anyone can use.
Like for free?
Yeah, pretty much.
So Wi-Fi and Bluetooth use that?
And your garage door opener probably does too.
That's so interesting. So Wirepas is basically building their own private 5G network using this unlicensed spectrum.
That's the gist of it, yeah.
And that's how they can offer 5G-like performance without all the limitations and costs of traditional cellular infrastructure.
Exactly.
This is mind-blowing, but I still have so many questions.
I bet.
Like, how does it work in practice?
Well, imagine a factory floor.
Okay.
With hundreds of robots all working together.
Right.
And they all need to communicate with each other in real time.
Yeah.
With NR+ Urge, you can create a dedicated, high-speed network that covers the entire factory.
Without having to install miles of cables.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about speed, it's about reliability and coverage, too.
Oh, I see.
Especially in those challenging environments where traditional networks struggle.
Like remote mining operations or oil rigs in the middle of the ocean?
Exactly. Places where reliable connectivity is essential, but really hard to come by.
So NR Plus could be a game changer for those industries.
It could be, yeah. It's like bringing the power of 5G to places that were previously off the grid.
And it's not just about connecting machines and sensors, right?
No, it's not.
There are also implications for things like remote collaboration and data analysis.
Absolutely.
And even autonomous vehicles.
Right. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
This is starting to feel like a real paradigm shift in industrial automation.
It really is.
But I'm also curious about the practical side of things.
Uh-huh.
How easy is it for businesses to actually deploy and manage these NR Plus networks?
Well, that's where the Wirepas connectivity suite comes in.
Okay, what's that?
It's like a toolbox.
A toolbox.
Yeah, with everything you need to build, monitor, and manage your Wirepas network.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
No, it's about the whole ecosystem around it.
They've made it user-friendly.
They have, yeah. They understand that for businesses to adopt this new technology, it has to be easy to use.
So they've thought about the whole package.
They have, and that's really important.
This is fascinating stuff. I'm seeing so many potential applications for this technology.
Me too.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and look at some of the real-world examples Wirepas has shared.
Okay, good idea.
Because some of them are pretty mind-blowing.
They are.
Like, did you see that they have a network with over 1 million smart meters?
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's insane.
It is, and it just shows how scalable their technology is.
And how reliable.
Right, you can't have 1 million smart meters going offline all the time.
No, absolutely not. And then there's that example of a large-scale military asset tracking system.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Like, what does that even mean? Are we talking about spy satellites and drones and stuff?
Maybe, who knows? But it definitely highlights the robustness of their technology.
If it's good enough for the military, it's probably good enough for anything.
Right, exactly.
And here's another one that caught my eye. Reducing energy and embodied emissions.
That's a big one.
That's huge. It shows that they're not just thinking about profits, they're thinking about the environment too.
Absolutely. They're trying to make a positive impact.
And that's really important these days.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But I feel like we need to dig deeper into this non-cellular 5G concept.
NR Plus.
Yeah, NR+. It's still a bit of a mystery to me.
It's definitely a complex topic.
So let's unravel that puzzle a little bit more.
Sounds good to me.
Let's explore the potential of NR+ and what it could mean for the future of industrial IoT.
All right, let's do it.
This is going to be good.
I think so too. Okay, so where were we?
Well, we were about to dive headfirst into this whole non-cellular 5G thing.
Or NR Plus.
Yeah, NR+. Still wrapping my head around it, to be honest.
It's a pretty radical concept.
That's one way to put it. So remind me again, how does it actually work?
Well, remember that analogy of cellular 5G being like adding more lanes to a highway?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay, good. So NR Plus, it's like they decided to build a whole new road system altogether.
Whoa. Okay.
Instead of just making the existing one bigger, they're creating something completely different.
And it uses a different part of the radio spectrum, right?
Exactly. That's the key. It taps into the unlicensed spectrum, which is kind of like the Wild West of radio waves.
Okay, I'm still a little fuzzy on that whole unlicensed spectrum thing.
Sure. So basically, the radio spectrum is like a giant cake, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
And different slices of that cake are reserved for different types of communication.
Right, like Verizon and AT&T, they have their own slices for their 4G and 5G networks.
Yeah, exactly. They pay a lot of money to license those specific frequencies.
So that's why our phone bills are so high.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are also parts of the spectrum that are unlicensed, meaning anyone can use them.
Really? Like anyone at all?
Pretty much Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, your garage door opener, they all operate on this unlicensed spectrum.
Huh, never thought about it like that. So Wirepas is using this unlicensed spectrum to create their own, like, private 5G network.
That's the basic idea. And because they're not tied to those traditional cellular frequencies, they can offer some pretty amazing benefits.
Like what?
Well, for starters, it's way more cost-effective.
Makes sense. They're not paying those licensing fees.
Right. And it also gives them a lot more flexibility in terms of how they design and deploy their networks.
Oh, I see. So they can really tailor it to the specific needs of their customers.
Exactly. And that's especially important in those industrial environments we keep talking about.
Right, like factories and mines and stuff.
Exactly. Those places often have unique challenges when it comes to connectivity.
Yeah, like you might have a huge factory floor with all sorts of machinery and robots running around.
And you need to be able to track everything in real time and make sure everything's communicating smoothly.
And with NR Plus Nader, You can do that without having to worry about the limitations of traditional cellular networks.
Exactly. You can create a dedicated high-speed network that covers the entire facility without having to deal with spotty coverage or expensive infrastructure upgrades.
So it's like having your own private 5G network just for your factory.
That's a great way to put it.
That's pretty amazing. But I also keep thinking about the security implications.
Right. That's a valid concern.
I mean, we're talking about connecting all these critical systems to the internet.
Mhm.
We all know how vulnerable those systems can be to hackers and cyber attacks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the good news is that Wirepas has taken security very seriously.
Okay, that's good to hear.
They've built in all sorts of safeguards to protect their networks from intrusion.
Like what?
Well, for starters, all their devices have unique identities and are authenticated before they can join the network.
So no rogue robots sneaking in.
Nope. And all the data that's transmitted over the network is encrypted, so even if someone manages to intercept it, they can't read it.
That's reassuring.
And they also have a really robust system for firmware updates, so they can quickly patch any vulnerabilities that are discovered.
So it sounds like they've really thought this through.
They have, and that's one of the things that sets them apart from a lot of other companies in this space.
Because security is often an afterthought.
Sadly, that's true. But with Wirepas, it's baked into the core of their technology.
Okay, good.
Right.
So to sum up, we've got this revolutionary new technology that can deliver 5G-like performance without relying on traditional cellular network.
Right.
It's cost-effective, flexible, secure, and it can be deployed in all sorts of challenging environments. I mean, this has the potential to completely transform the way industries operate.
I agree.
But it's not just about industries, right?
No, it's not.
This has implications for the way we live and work and interact with the world around us.
Absolutely. Think about smart cities, for example.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that earlier.
Right. With NR plus SEN, we can finally start to realize the full potential of smart cities.
Like, what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, imagine a city where traffic flows smoothly, parking is never a problem, and public transportation is seamlessly coordinated.
That sounds amazing.
And it's all possible with the help of sensors and data and a reliable high-bandwidth network like NR+.
So we could actually reduce traffic congestion and pollution and make our cities more livable.
Exactly. And it's not just about convenience and efficiency.
It's about sustainability, too.
Absolutely. We can use this technology to create a more sustainable future.
Okay, I'm sold. This is exciting stuff.
It is.
But I also want to talk about the potential downsides. Because with any new technology, there are always risks.
That's true.
And one of the big ones with NR+ is privacy.
Right, because we're talking about connecting more and more devices to the internet.
And collecting more and more data about our lives.
Exactly. And we need to be very careful about how that data is collected and used.
Because it could be used for all sorts of nefarious purposes.
It could, yeah. So we need to make sure that there are strong safeguards in place to protect our privacy.
And that the companies collecting this data are using it responsibly.
Absolutely. We need to have a serious conversation about the ethical implications of this technology.
And we need to make sure that it's used for good, not for evil.
I couldn't agree more.
So what's the next step?
Well, I think the first step is to raise awareness.
Okay.
People need to understand what NR+ is and what it can do.
And what the potential risks are.
Right. So that we can have an informed debate about how to best use this technology.
And make sure that it benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Exactly. This is technology that has the power to shape the future of our world.
And it's up to us to make sure that it's a future we can all be proud of.
Well said.
All right, so we've talked about the technical aspects of NR+, the potential benefits and the potential risks.
Well, yeah.
But I think it's time to zoom out a little bit and talk about the big picture.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Because this technology has the potential to impact so many different aspects of our lives.
It does.
And I think it's important to step back and think about the broader implications.
Absolutely. We need to look beyond the immediate applications and consider the long-term consequences.
So let's do that. Let's explore how NR+ could shape the future of work, sustainability, and the way we interact with the world around us.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so we've really gone deep on this NR+ technology.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
But you mentioned there's more to this story, right?
Definitely, we've just scratched the surface.
Okay, well, I'm all ears.
Well,
What else is there?
well, think about the big picture, the potential of a truly connected world.
Okay.
It's not just about faster internet or smarter factories.
So what are we talking about then?
I mean, think about it. We could create cities that are more efficient, more sustainable, more livable.
Smart cities.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You could have traffic that flows smoothly, parking that's always available, public transportation that runs like clockwork.
All thanks to sensors and data and NR+.
Right. We could monitor everything in real time and optimize everything for maximum efficiency.
That sounds amazing, but is it really possible?
I think so, and Wirepas is helping to make it happen.
Okay, but what about the environmental impact?
That's a great question, and it's something Wirepas has thought a lot about.
Okay, cool.
Their technology is designed to be energy efficient, so it can actually help us reduce our carbon footprint.
So we can have a smarter world without sacrificing the planet.
Exactly. We can use this technology to create a more sustainable future for everyone.
I like the sound of that, but I also can't help but think about the potential downsides. I mean, connecting everything to the internet raises some serious concerns about privacy and security.
Absolutely, those are valid concerns.
So how do we address those?
Well, I think it starts with having open and honest conversations about the risks and benefits of this technology.
Okay.
We need to make sure that people understand what's at stake and that we have the right safeguards in place to protect our privacy.
And to prevent this technology from being used for harmful purposes.
Exactly. We need to be very careful about how we develop and deploy this technology.
Because it's incredibly powerful.
It is, and it has the potential to shape the future of our world in profound ways.
So we need to make sure that it's used for good, not for evil.
I couldn't agree more.
Wow, this has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've gone from the technical details of mesh networking to the philosophical implications of a hyper-connected world.
I know, it's been quite a ride.
But I think it's been a worthwhile one.
Definitely, we've learned a lot.
And I hope our listeners have too.
Me too.
So for anyone out there who's curious about Wirepas and their technology, where can they go to learn more?
Their developer portal is a great place to start.
Okay, we'll be sure to include a link in the show notes.
Perfect.
And one last question for you and for everyone listening. Do you think this non-cellular 5G concept, this NR plus technology, could really be the future of industrial IoT?
I think it has the potential, yeah.
I mean, it seems like it checks all the boxes.
It does. It's fast, reliable, secure, and cost-effective.
And it can be deployed in all sorts of challenging environments.
Exactly. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this technology in the years to come.
It's definitely a space to watch.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the world of Wirepas. Hopefully you've come away with a better understanding of this innovative company and the exciting possibilities of their technology. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, stay curious.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.